Okay, hello everybody. This is office hours for history. History 2, spring 2016 at Gavilan College. History 17A, on campus and online at Evergreen Valley College. I have a shared screen here. You should be. Oh wait, we're still going? Sweet. Okay, you got to see me make a fool of myself. We're going to do screen share here, entire screen. I'm going to make this really quick. There is going to be some extra credit stuff at the end, extra credit for 5 points. That's pretty substantial. Let's see here. We'll go over here. Let's go to full screen. How about that? I got notes. That way I stay on point. I have a tendency to drift. Man, some of you. Okay, let's get. Oh, geez. Not this one. This one. Okay. First things first. Comments on Moodle forums, comments on Moodle or iLearn or whatever you want to call it. Comments in Moodle forums. Leaving comments, just general grammar, composition, proper format, okay? Some of you, many of you text, or rather you send emails and do things as if you're texting. I just bleached this pair of shorts. That's cool. They're house shorts now. Long story. I was cleaning the kitchen and I used bleach, which was a bad idea. Had some paper towels with a bunch of bleach and water on it and just set it in my lap just now to do this. See how much I do for you guys? This is you know, I mean, these shorts already had paint on them, but I still, I get bleached for you guys. Bleached. Not beached. I'm not a whale. A blue whale. If I were, I'd be a blue whale. But comments in Moodle forums, okay? This is, even though this is very much like a comments thread on Facebook, right? And I don't want you to feel too uptight. Be cordial with each other, and some of you may know each other or be related or you're friends. That's cool. But we're not texting each other. When you send me an email, when you send any teacher an email, it's anything professional, right? When you fill out a job application, whatever. Try to be professional. As you develop a relationship with anyone, a boss, a coworker, a fellow student, a teacher, you may exchange numbers and you may text each other more casually or whatever, but do not email me as if you're texting me, right? It would like one sentence with no period and no capitalization, and not even stating who you are, right? It's very irritating. Yeah, usually you address the person. I try to address you, but this semester I've been lagging on that. I haven't been addressing you in emails like hello, so-and-so. But anyways, I try. So comments, here's a comment. For example, this is a comment that was written, I like what you wrote. This is actually not, this is a very good comment generally, right? It's giving good feedback. It's showing they actually read the post they're commenting on. I like what you wrote. Yeah, I agree. I shouldn't bang the desk. I think that makes a noise on the computer. I like what you wrote. Yeah, I agree. Free society did fear the diversity in the US, and maybe they weren't ready for it. It seems they didn't know what the term free meant, since they weren't allowed to have a say about communism. And if they did, it would end right. I'm not sure what that means at the end there, but so this is generally, they're showing, okay, I read what you wrote. Here's a comment I have on it, and I agree. This is a good, solid comment here, right? So let's see here. I like what you wrote. That's one sentence. Let me correct this here. It's actually a sentence, right? And then, yeah, we don't need that, right? And then see how this I is, I don't know if you can see it. This I is lowercase. I is always capitalized, even unless you're texting your friend, I want to go to the mall. Or if you're my Gavilan students, the outlets, because I'm keeping it, local like that. The outlets, the Vans outlet. That the sunglasses, the Ray-Bans are next to the Vans outlet, or the sunglasses hut. If anyone, needs glasses. I feel like I'm plugged in. Anyways, I agree. Free society did fear the diversity. in, let's just put did fear diversity. Diversity in the United States. I would put, instead of diversity, I'd probably put the, dissenting ideas. Communism is clearly a dissenting idea. It's definitely a change in the economic system, possibly even a change in government over, which would mean changing the Constitution, which is definitely up. On the one hand, it's everyone's free to express their beliefs and believe in anything. On the other hand, someone like me, I'm as a teacher at Gavilan. I'm not sure if I did it Evergreen, San Jose folks, but my Gilroy folks, I actually had to sign a loyalty oath to be loyal to the Constitution to teach you guys. So if somebody wants to get rid of the Constitution, that jeopardizes me, I guess. So don't tell me you want to do that, or else I have to report you. I'm just kidding. I won't do that because the First Amendment, right? Constitution has a First Amendment. So even if somebody has the right to say, they can say F the Constitution, I'll burn it up, and you kind of have to say, well, that's your right. That's why the Constitution's so great, right? Started from the bottom, now we're here. I'm drinking coffee too. Okay, and just say United States, please, United States or world, like this, World War II, not WW2, right? Not WW2. And it's African Americans or blacks or black Americans. Don't say the blacks. Don't say the whites. Don't say Caucasian. Please don't say Caucasian. If you are insistent on referring to yourself or people like you're in the first person, you refer to yourself as a Caucasian because that's what you prefer, and you want me to refer to you as a Caucasian, let me know and I'll go along with it. But don't ever call me a Caucasian. I don't want you to use the term Caucasian when talking about anybody else, like in the textbook, for example. It's whites, white Americans, if you want to get more specific, Anglo-Americans, which is people of English, stock, English ancestry. Caucasian is kind of a term that, you can look this, I would look this up, Google this, the history of it. But, when people started using the term Native American and the idea of political correctness was coming around, there's nothing wrong with political correctness for the most part, obviously, you don't want, most of the time when people say they're not politically correct, that means they're going to say something that's really offensive and racist or sexist or homophobic, that's mean. But, Caucasian is not, the Caucasian basically is there's a place called the Caucasus Mountains in Russia. It's like the Russian steppes, sort of Central Asia, right? This is where apparently, human civilization, human society began in Africa. And then the first, what would become Europeans, sort of ended up in this area, migrated out of Africa into this sort of the Middle East, a little further north of the Middle East, Russian steppes area. There's this mountain range, right? So, it's if you want to use it, that's fine. As you notice, phoner, if you're in History 1, actually, if you're in History 2 also, at Gavilan, if you're in 17A, 17B at Evergreen, phoner uses the term Indians, which, people who started saying Native American. Some people say Amerindians. I'm not really big on that one. Indians is fine. Native American is first off, America is named after an Italian. Columbus was an Italian also. So either, they didn't call this place America. So they're not natives of America. They're natives of whatever each group actually called the place they were in, right? So I say Indians. Might as well just stick with it, Anyways, it seems they didn't know, and maybe they weren't ready for it. That's not. I guess so. That's kind of. What do you mean they weren't ready? Who wasn't ready for it? The government. The government is never ready for change. Or the powerful people usually are never ready for change, and usually there has to be a push from regular folks like us on a daily basis for several years before anything is done. It's a Hegel. It's called Hegel's. Let's write this down right here below here. Hegel's triadic structure, right? Which states that there is a thesis, and then there's antithesis, which challenges thesis. And then they sort of create a new synthesis, right? Like segregation is the law. It's challenged. That's the antithesis. there's a struggle, and now there's this new synthesis, this new thesis, where it's segregation is not in the law, but is, there's a new sort of thing where there's issues to be tackled, right? I'm rambling right now. So let's just do this. They weren't ready for it. It seems they didn't know what the term free meant, comma. Since they weren't allowed to have a say about communism, to be, let's just say be communist. To sympathize or sympathize with how about just agree? Let's keep it simple. I'm trying to be fancy. Agree with communism or communist ideas. If they did, it would end right. Let's just get rid of that one. But since they weren't allowed to agree with communism, to do so could mean persecution. Blacklisted, the term blacklisted. We could do that. Hashtag blacklisted. Something like, no, I don't do the hashtag thing. Honestly though, something like that where it's a phrase you want to use, but you don't know how to work it into a sentence in this here. So you put it at the end like that. I would prefer that to a smiley face or a sad face. No emojis, no emoticons at all. None of this stuff. Definitely not the winking one. I don't even know what you're trying to say there. Like not that I don't even know. That's kind of dirty looking. I don't know. Don't do any of those. Okay, so just this. So that's probably, hopefully that's helpful. And I'm not sure why we're putting free in quotes here. Some of you many times you'll use quotes unnecessarily, or I've seen quotations where it seems like you're quoting the book, but then it's not a direct quote. Only cite the book with quotation marks if it's a direct quote, if it's actually what the author said. And you don't have to use quotations all the time, right? Like here, they use a lowercase c for communism. That's good. That might have been accidental. So let's see. A lot of people have had issues with, let's stay right here. Cutting and pasting. So let's take this. Cutting and pasting from Word. I use Google Drive into their comments thread. So let's see. This is for Gavilan, but it's very similar system. Moodle or iLearn, if you call it iLearn, but most people call it Moodle. So my Evergreen students shouldn't have a problem with this. Right? It looks very similar. We are switching to a new system in the fall. I believe it's going to be mandatory. So let's go to this new week right here. Hey, extra credit, what's that? We're going to get to that later. You have to have watched up to this point to know it's there so far. So short response, this is what it looks like for me. All right, this is going to be for this week for history at Gavilan. I will see, this is how I create this. So you get to see how I create this now. Post here, right? Please post where I say post here. And also, really important, write a 3-paragraph response, right? That means each question is a paragraph. If I say now in a 1-paragraph response, answer the following questions, if there's 7 questions, 3 questions, whatever, 1 paragraph, it all goes into 1 paragraph, so it's shorter, right? And many of you have not caught on to that yet. I did point it out in an email previously. I have pointed it out individually to some students, and I also pointed it out in the syllabus, right? The syllabus says 1 or 3 paragraphs. So for my on-campus students, you only have to worry about 3 paragraphs for your written responses, so do not worry. But online students, yeah, take note. So let's post this. Yeah, here we go. And then we will post as a, this is fun, isn't it? I'm having fun. Okay, so let's get rid of this hide. Let's see what it's like to copy and paste this on to, did I copy? Here we go, copy. This is, and I'm using a MacBook Air. So maybe it's a little different for some people. And we will hit reply. Let's act like this is our post, right? Paste. See, for me, it's okay. It doesn't indent. Apparently, some people are say they can't use the tab key. Let me see. Neither can I. I cannot use it because tab, yeah, it takes you down here to the next thing. So usually, I believe it's 4 or 5 spaces. I would check that with the Purdue OWL, Purdue Online Writing Lab. See what they in lieu of a tab. I believe it's 4 or 5 spaces. 1, 2, say 5. There you go. You don't need to indent really for these though. It's not that important. As it's not as important as citations and blah blah blah. So let's see. But let's act like this posted all messed up, right? Let's say it went here and then here, like that, right? No. I mean, this is just a matter of, let's say you can't use tab. You should be able to click in and hit delete, right? And bring it all back together. Hit space. If you can't use the space bar, that's going to be a problem for this, because some people have had issues where they paste it and it gets all messy. So you know, all I ask, you know, if you try your best to troubleshoot the problem, to try various ways of doing it, don't just email me the first time it doesn't work and say, oh, here it is, I couldn't get it to post right. Because I have the feeling that some people might be doing that. But as long as you give it a good try, give it, you know, to do it correctly, to see what works, to try to resolve the issue on your own. And you know, if it's taking too long, takes more than a few tries or 20, you know, I don't know, 20 minutes. Sit there for 20 minutes, try to do it, and then send it to me. You know, I don't think you should spend 3 hours trying to, you know, solve a problem that isn't solvable, especially when you have jobs and kids and stuff like that. Some of you, I don't know how. I don't have kids. I don't know how I get distracted. I just got bleach all over myself. Okay, so we'll then you post, it shows up. Yeah, you guys know how this works. So let's keep going here. Yeah, 1 paragraph, we covered that, or 3 paragraphs, right? Nothing in between. Do not, you know, just answer the questions. If it says 3 paragraphs, each question is usually a paragraph. If it says 1 paragraph, put it all in one. Address the individual. You know, we were talking about this. In an email, I would address the individual. Hello, Mr. Allen. Hello, teacher. Hello, Daniel. If you want to use that, my first name, that's cool. Or professor, that's kind of cool. It's not. I'm not really a professor technically. It's a fuzzy area. Or, you know, and I'll try to do the same thing with you. Hello, you know, yeah. But you don't have to do that in the comments, right? We see your name. We see what's going on. It's like Facebook. You wouldn't say, hi, so-and-so, I'm so-and-so, right? Because your avatar, your profile picture is there. Your name is there. So let's get rid of that. Don't worry about that. Proofread, though. Proofread. Always proofread, right? Always proofread. Uh-oh. Ha-ha. That was a horrible joke. Anyways, also the annotated bibliography is coming up. The annotated bibliography, where you choose a topic and then you pick sources and then you just write 3 paragraphs on each source. There is a sample. There is a sample in the assignment. If you go click on the assignment, scroll to the bottom of your class, of this class, whichever one you have with me. Click on this assignment and you will see an example. It will take you to one. Boom. This is how it's supposed to look. Look no further. Right? No, you know. Good stuff. So pick a topic, anything, right? What piqued your interest? What interested you? Let's see, Reconstruction. Or if you're in History 1 at Gavilan, it's actually History 17A at Evergreen. Let's see, the Revolution, the American Revolution. Or you know what, you could do the Iranian Revolution in History 2, because that's coming up. As long as it's somehow, you have to make sure your sources relate to America on some level. You cannot watch Argo as a source. Sources are books, right? Books, articles, academic journals, scholarly articles, right? Peer-reviewed articles. You can use periodicals like 1 or 2. That's about it. Whatever the syllabus says, go with that. No Wikipedia. No Wikipedia, or, you know, no U.S. News or history.org 420 _ military rocks. or whatever, right? Or that's a question mark, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with the military. There's nothing wrong with the 20th of April. There's nothing wrong with history and being a .org. But yeah, let's not. There's actually a website out there. We can look for it. Actually, let's look for it. There is a website that is a Martin Luther King Jr. website run by the neo-Nazis. I believe it might be Stormfront. Right, so you got to be careful about what's out there. Yeah, right. A true historical examination. Ooh. Let's see, the truth about Martin Luther King. It's going to tell you, it's going to blame a lot of stuff on Jews. There's documentaries out there blaming the slave trade on Jews. It's a very, but you can't see, right? Oh, look at that. Uh-oh. Look, there's stuff on rap lyrics, like Jews and the civil rights. See? Boom, right there. The day King was shot, right? They're probably going to portray him as a wonderful guy. Obviously, oh, look at this. They talk about just from the first page. They show, they talk about FBI recordings of Martin Luther King cheating on his wife, which, you know, he had issues with that. A lot of people do. But that's like what they open the entire page with, you know. Which here, look at rap lyrics. Oh my goodness, let's see what they talk about. Yeah, this is. They're gonna cry about these. These are people that used to wear hoods and go out and lynch people and kill people, and they're gonna complain about rap lyrics that say "kill Whitey." I mean, if the average person wants to be upset at that, fine. Don't say "kill Whitey," but I don't know if the Klan has a leg to stand on. There's also a big movement dealing with the Civil War and the fact that 65. You'll see it on Wikipedia. 65,000 African Americans fought for the South in the Civil War. That is not true. I've spelled that wrong. But you can see it on Wikipedia. If it's still there, they might have taken it down, right? Some places are like the myth of, you'll see a website that has all these pictures. There are drummer boys. I mean, there were maybe certain units where a black kid got in as a drummer boy, or a slave did have to pick up a weapon, and they gave him a uniform, and he started fighting. You know, they were definitely used for the war effort, digging trenches and building forts and whatnot, railroads. But the idea that 65,000 African Americans wore the gray and butternut uniforms of the Confederacy and were actually in the Confederate Army and Navy on that level. I mean, imagine nothing is written about this. You're talking everybody back then wrote things down. There are diaries for everybody from all walks of life, all the states in the Union at the time. They would have had to go to everyone's basement, everyone's attic across America, find their great-great-grandfather's diary, rip out the pages that talk about the battle where they saw a black regiment, right? That would be pretty noticeable. I mean, it's mentioned in the annals of history for the North, obviously, right? It would be very difficult to get rid of that. This is a myth that is used to try and separate the racism issue, the slavery issue, from the Civil War, because there's and there's nothing wrong with being for limited government or local government, but the states' rights limited government thing in many instances is packed with a lot of racism, like the separate drinking fountains and whatnot. And so they try to separate from the main states' rights event, the Civil War, they try to separate that from racism, from slavery, right? Not states' rights to defend slavery, just states' rights. With a lot of some information that's statistics that are true dealing with slave ownership, but are just not, they could be very misleading or used in the wrong way, right? Like most slave owners, most people who fought in the Civil War didn't own slaves. That's fine. Most people who invaded Iraq don't own stock in a major oil company, right? Doesn't, so just because most people doing the fighting, rich man's war, poor man's fight, right? That's from Vietnam, it's from the Civil War. It's so anyways, let's stay on ball here. Anyway, that's a lot of that was a little bit of my opinion, but it's backed up with sources. Hey, look at this. Like, for example, let's cut to me here. I have a source right here. Where's my bag? Okay, we got to get up and go to a different room really quick. So, for example, I talk about the Iroquois Confederacy in my class in history at Gavilan History 1, 17A at Evergreen, and I never really read a whole lot about the Iroquois. I sort of know about them. So let's look here. I'll turn the camera on. Oh, I just burped. So, I typed in, I went to the San Jose, let's look it up. I should just do it this way. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is fun. Hopefully this sounds better than the first one. I'll have to listen. Let's do this again. Share screen. Okay. So, SJ Library. I'm going to use the San Jose. San Jose State has a library with the city of San Jose. It's downtown. It's very good. I misspelled it, but that's cool. Google is very forgiving. All right. Library catalog. I'm curious about the Iroquois Confederacy. Right? Or you know what? A lot of you in history too. Eugene Debs. I like Eugene Debs. What do they have about Eugene Debs? Look at like books on Eugene Debs. They'll tell you where to get them. Right? Margaret Sanger, she started Planned Parenthood. There's also a lot of stuff on her about she was into eugenics. She was, you know, a lot of the people, white, rich people in the progressive era who were intellectual were, you know, they were a little racist, and of course she was not immune to that. And so that's used by to sort of argue against Planned Parenthood. But you know, lots of people were into eugenics, and you know, Henry Ford built factories in Germany for Hitler. So, I mean, does that mean you shouldn't go out and buy a Fiesta? Which is, that might be considered a questionable analogy, technically, but you get my point. Iroquois, I think I'm spelling it wrong. I think it's Iroquois, QU, right? Anyone who is an ESL student, I believe that with a rule in English, the Q is usually only used when it's before a U, like queen, qua, right? Somebody might want to correct me on that. Iroquois Confederacy. Wow, look at that. All this stuff. There a lot of ebooks, but you know, hard copy books. Where's the one I have? I'll show it to you. Where are we? Okay. And let's cut back to me. Cut back to me. Right there. I found this one. The Iroquois in the American Revolution. It's written in the early 70s. You can tell reading it that it's sort of dated. It's an attempt to look at Native American society from their perspective, you know, which came out of like the 1960s, ethnic studies type stuff. But it's dated, but that's cool. There's nothing wrong with finding a bad source or a dated source, as long as you point that out, you know. Like how I'm usually pretty clear with a lot of people that the textbook we use is Give Me Liberty is left of center. It's a liberal leaning textbook, right? It's, you know, it's okay, and it's okay to not agree with it. It's, you know, many people are not. More people are. A lot of people are more conservative, socially conservative, or fiscally conservative, and you know, that's fine, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with, you know, like they're this sounds like I'm condescending. Anyways, the point is that the author of your textbook is very qualified. He's a great historian, but he has an agenda like anybody else. So you have to sort of be cautious with anything. I would say lend him a little more credibility because he backs it up with a lot of a lot of facts, a lot of citations. If you look at his book, compared to you know, a news station that does a poll conducted, you know, who you like for president, and the poll is conducted by the same news station. You know, how accurate is it going to be? I don't know. So anyways, let's go back to here. So annotated bibliography. Choose some books, articles, and then write the three paragraphs that are described in the syllabus. I also wanted to talk about extra credit. Oh yeah, there's an extra credit quiz. Let's skip to the bottom here. Extra credit quiz. No, you know what? You gotta wait because I want to do this. Course load, workload, overload. I'm calling this course load, workload, overload. Many of you, I just want to say, you know, maybe it's the idea that you get your bachelor's in 4 years. That's not the world we live in anymore. So if you're working, you have family, or you know, some people have multiple jobs and multiple children, or they just have one job and they're taking classes. It's a grind. You know, it's a grind. Please do not take too many units that you can't handle. And because you're going to end up, you know, dropping classes or getting poor grades in classes, and that is going to affect the way your transcripts look later on when you transfer. When you transfer to schools, you know, down the road, if you took 6 to 9 units in a semester for 4 years, right, to get a 2-year general education, they're not gonna. They don't care about that. They're gonna look and see A's and B's, and that's good, right? Whereas you could finish community college in a year and take 20 bazillion units in a semester, but if you get D's and C's and drops and withdrawals and then a couple, you know, they don't care. Oh, well, this person was more aggressive pursuing their career, academic career, and they had 2 jobs. All they see is the letter. They see that you guys C instead of a B plus or an A. You know, whereas if you'd maybe managed your time and been a little more realistic about things. I went to De Anza for a number of years, and I took some course. It was on the quarter system where 3 classes was a full load, 3-quarter, you know, 3 and 12 weeks. And most of the time I was taking 2, and I was working, you know, 30, 35 hours a week. And that's nothing compared to a lot of you. But you know what? Nobody sees that at the end. They don't see, well, he worked at this coffee shop and took a couple classes. And it took him 4 years to finish. All they see is A, B, B plus A, you know, and maybe occasionally something a little lower. So be vigilant about that, right? And, you know, take you take a couple classes, and then when you can, throw in some extracurricular. And if you need a letter of recommendation, let me know, because I have actually I don't think I've ever written one yet. I've only been teaching for a few years. Okay, and then let's get rid of all this. Yeah, and then the quiz, extra credit quiz. I've set it up here. Where is it? So for this week, this is for my history 2 classic Gavilan, but it's the same. We're on the same calendar basically with Evergreen. Yeah, this will stay open till tomorrow night, which is Tuesday midnight. Extra credit quiz right here. You are going to you're going to figure out the answer to this quiz by watching a video, which is not, you click on this, it's not here, right? This is what it looks like to me. It's not here. Here's how you're going to, this is where you know the answer, okay? I'm going to show you. We'll go to YouTube. Let's go to YouTube. YouTube, oh my goodness. And this is what you're going to watch. You can write this down. I'm going to probably put this on my page. Oh, okay. There we go. Let's watch a little bit of it now. Let's add this to
the thing that happens to Mel Gibson in all his movies.
Office hours. Let's call it office hours. Okay. / extra credit, just in case. People always forget.
This little piggy stay
Oh,
home.
wrong one. Wrong one. Wrong one. Let's go back. Okay. Here we go.
Our main story tonight concerns the past week's terrible events in Missouri.
Okay.
An officer shot an 18-year-old man outside an apartment complex in Ferguson,
There we go.
Missouri.
It is unclear at this hour what led to the shooting, but witnesses say the teenager
And you know,
the
decision to show, I'll pause. The decision to show this was actually a conversation I had with a student regarding racial tension, race issues. This that's kind of interesting. It deals with not really. It starts off with the sort of dynamic of, you know, white police and black citizen and the sort of hostile relationship that you've seen on the news for the last several years. Trust me, it's probably been going on forever, but now people have phones that film it. But this deals more with what we would call the militarization of our police force, municipal, city, county law enforcement, peace officers, right? Where in some countries like England, cops don't even carry guns. Here, there's this huge transfer of military hardware, surplus hardware, grenade launchers or whatever, to the city level to deal with riots and protests and stuff. That's kind of troubling, I would think. You know, regardless of whether you support law enforcement, There's, taking first up. I mean, these are weapons that are designed by a company. The company shows the design to the government. The government pays them to build a tank. And then maybe, who knows, maybe they're intentionally building too many because they know the government will buy them, and then it ends up in the hands of the police. So somebody's profiting off of this, a private company is profiting off of this. That could be kind of a concern, not just the fact that police have it. But anyways, so check out that. It's on my YouTube page right here. But you could also just type in John Oliver Ferguson. Here we go. This is my 0 subscribers. I know. We're gonna change that. I'm gonna be famous. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, my channel. There we go. Oh, let's get a channel art. Channel art. Of course we need channel art. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Anyways, I'll let you go. Yeah, there it is. Office hours. Okay. I'll let you go. That's it. Extra credit quiz. It's 5 points, which is the same as like if you're in my class on campus, that's half of the class participation. Or for the 1 paragraph responses in my online classes, it's half of one of those. So it'll definitely help you out. Take advantage of it. And let me stop sharing here. All right. I don't like my face being on here. Let's turn the camera off. I like this. Sweet. Anyways, that was Office Hours, Monday, April 25th, 2016. Yeah, and some of these were answers to emails. Any emails you have with questions, I will answer them in the next one. Hopefully it's put up next Monday. Yeah. Sayonara.